Hey everyone, buckle up. This is one of those stories that starts with years of quiet heartbreak, and ends with the kind of justice that makes your chest finally unclench after holding your breath for decades. My name is Elias Kane. I'm 27 now. Growing up in a sleek Seattle high-rise family, I was always the glitch. My older brother Nathan was the flawless prototype, Stanford MBA by 24, married at 26, first kid on the way, always camera ready for the annual holiday card. Me? I had severe ADHD. The kind where thoughts ricochet like pinballs, deadlines feel like quicksand, and focus evaporates the second emotion enters the room. My parents didn't see a brain wired differently. They saw excuses. Laziness. Embarrassment. Family dinners in our glass-walled dining room overlooking Puget Sound were performances. Dad, Victor Kane, would raise his scotch and toast to Nathan, closing another 8-figure deal at Pacific Cascade Ventures. Silverware clinking. Mom beaming like she personally negotiated the contracts. Then his eyes would slide to me. And Elias, showed up, I guess. The room would ripple with that awkward half-laugh adults do when they're waiting for someone to change the subject. Nathan never corrected it. He just smirked into his phone. I internalized it young. By 15 I stopped raising my hand in class. By 19 I dropped out of community college after 2 semesters of invisible panic attacks, the kind where your heart hammers so hard you can't hear the professor, the room spins, and you stare at the syllabus like it's written in another language. I worked odd jobs, barista, bike courier, warehouse night shift, anything that let me move, let my mind race without judgment. Meanwhile Nathan got the corner office, the company car, the promises whispered at holiday parties. One day this will all be yours. Grandma Ruth, Dad's mom, was different. She founded Pacific Cascade back in 1978 with nothing but grit, a Rolodex, and a tiny office above a Pike Place fish stall. The smell of salmon and salt always lingered in her early files. She built a boutique venture capital firm that backed early-stage tech that changed Seattle's skyline, companies that built the first cloud tools, the first ride-sharing algorithms, the first sustainable energy plays. By the time she retired, it managed over $140 million. Dad inherited the reins in 2012. He shifted it towards safer, flashier SaaS plays, more predictable, less visionary. Grandma never said it out loud, but I saw the disappointment in her eyes every time she visited the new glass headquarters. She was the only one who never treated my brain like a defect. Sunday mornings she'd call me over to her Madrona condo. We'd sit on her balcony with coffee, fairy horns in the distance, water glittering like shattered glass below. She'd hand me legal pads and colored markers. Don't read the pitch decks word for word, Eli. Draw them. Map the connections. See the flow. I'd sketch ecosystems, circles for founders, arrows for capital, lightning bolts for risks, dotted lines for hidden conflicts. She'd nod slowly. You see the picture before most people even open the file. That's not broken. That's rare. Those mornings saved me. They were the only place I felt smart instead of defective. She taught me to trust the way my mind jumped, the hyper-focus that hit at 3 a.m. on a good day, the way I could hold 10 threads in my head at once and weave them into something coherent. She never once said slow down or focus or why can't you be more like your brother. She just said, keep going, Eli. The world needs people who see sideways. In 2020 she got sick. Fast. Stage 4 pancreatic, the kind that doesn't give warnings. I was the only one who stayed every night in the hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and wilted flowers. Nathan sent flowers. Dad visited twice, each time checking his watch like the meeting was running long. When she passed, I held her hand until it went cool, her fingers thin like bird bones. I cried until my throat burned. She left me a small envelope, sealed, no explanation. I tucked it away, too raw to open, too afraid that opening it would make her really gone. Fast forward to spring 2025. I'd clawed my way into a junior analyst role at Pacific Cascade. $58,000 salary. Windowless cubicle. Endless Excel sheets that blurred together by 4 p.m. I wasn't invited to partner meetings, but I overheard everything, hallway fragments, elevator rants, coffee machine complaints. I started mapping patterns no one else noticed, overconcentration in one vertical, shaky burn rate projections on 3 portfolio companies, Dad quietly moving personal expenses through the firm, a yacht maintenance invoice labeled consulting fees, a family trip to Aspen coded as team offsite. My visual brain caught what linear readers missed. I kept quiet. I needed the job. My rent in Capitol Hill was already eating half my paycheck. Then the email hit. Position elimination, effective immediately. Severance, 6 weeks. Reason, organizational realignment. Same week Nathan was named managing partner and heir apparent. Public announcement planned at the annual investor retreat, luxury lodge on Whidbey Island, black tie gala, 200+ guests, ocean view suites, champagne towers, celebrity chef, the works. I read the email 5 times. The letters swam. I felt the floor tilt. I sat in my cubicle staring at the screen until the screensaver kicked in. My reflection looked small. Hollow. The night before the event I sat on my futon in my cramped Capitol Hill apartment, rain drumming the window like impatient fingers. I finally opened Grandma's envelope. My hand shook so badly I almost tore the paper. Inside, a 2021 codicil to her will. Notarized. Witnessed. Handwritten cover note in her shaky script. Eli, if they've finally shown you who they really are, it's time. This revokes the 2013 version your father knows. You get 58% voting control of Pacific Cascade. Not because you're perfect. Because you see what others pretend not to. Use it with care. Not cruelty. Clarity. Ruth. My pulse roared in my ears. 58%. Controlling stake. A clause required me to call an emergency shareholder meeting within 96 hours of delivery or it voided. I didn't sleep. I paced the tiny apartment, stepping over laundry and takeout boxes. I cried, ugly, choking sobs, for the kid who believed he was defective, for the grandma who saw him anyway, for the years I spent apologizing for my own existence. The gala was surreal. Crystal chandeliers. Saltwater scent drifting through open doors. String quartet playing over clinking champagne. Laughter rolling like waves. I wore my one decent blazer, off the clearance rack, sleeves a little short. Nathan stood on stage in custom tux, arm around his pregnant wife, Dad beaming beside him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dad announced, tonight we celebrate continuity. Nathan Kane will assume full leadership as managing partner when I step back next year. The future of Pacific Cascade is secure. Applause thundered. Phones flashed. No one looked at the back corner table where I sat alone. Invisible. As always. Then a woman in a charcoal suit approached. Mid-60s. Sharp eyes. Elias Kane? She handed me a thick envelope. I'm Lauren Voss, your grandmother's estate attorney. She instructed delivery tonight, after this announcement. I slipped outside to the deck. Wind whipped salt spray across my face. I tore it open under a heat lamp. Same codicil. Same 58%. Plus, printed board minutes from 2019. Dad proposing to dilute Grandma's voting rights to 15% because she no longer grasps current market dynamics. The motion failed, Grandma's vote and one ally broke it. Audio clip attached. His voice, cold, clinical. She's sentimental. We need agility. I shook, not from cold. From clarity. Rage. Grief. Vindication. All at once. I called Lauren back. I'm invoking it. Emergency meeting. Tomorrow if possible. She didn't sound surprised. Your grandmother said you'd know when. The boardroom 2 days later smelled of fresh coffee and old money. Floor-to-ceiling Elliott Bayview. Fairies cutting white wakes below. 12 directors. Dad at the head. Nathan to his right, arms crossed, smug. I walked in last. Borrowed tie slightly crooked. Portfolio under my arm. Dad didn't look up. This is a closed session. Elias, you're not. Lauren Voss stood. He has standing. As does the codicil presented. Silence hit like a dropped glass. I laid the documents out. Spoke slowly. Not loud. Not angry. Just clear. This is Ruth Kane's final codicil, 2021. It revokes prior versions. Grants me 58% voting shares. Here's authentication. Here's the 2019 minutes your father hoped stayed buried. Dad's face drained gray. Nathan barked a laugh. This is ridiculous. He can barely finish sentences? I met his eyes. Watch me. I played the clip. Dad's voice filled the speakers, every word about Grandma, every calculation. The room froze. One director, older woman who'd known Ruth since the fish market days, spoke first. I second a motion for vote of no confidence in current leadership. Hands rose. 7-5. Dad stood. Voice cracking. You have no idea what you're doing. I looked at him, really looked. I know exactly. You built on her foundation, then tried to erase her when she slowed down. You did the same to me my whole life. I'm not erasing you. I'm giving the board a choice. The vote passed. No confidence. Dad had 45 days to step down. He stared at me like I'd stabbed him. Not rage. Something worse, recognition. He'd never seen me as a threat because he never saw me at all. Afterward, in the hallway, Nathan cornered me. You think this makes you better? You're still the screw-up. No, I said quietly. I'm just not invisible anymore. I didn't fire Dad outright. I let the board decide his exit package, generous, but finite. I didn't take CEO. I'm now chair of Strategic Vision, a new role I proposed, focusing on early-stage founders who think differently, who see angles others miss, the kind Grandma backed, the ones who get dismissed because their decks are messy, their timelines nonlinear, their energy too much or too scattered. I started meeting them in coffee shops, in co-working spaces, listening to their wild ideas, sketching their visions on napkins the way Grandma taught me. I hired an assistant who understands ADHD, reminders, visual boards, flexible hours, no judgment. The office feels different now. Less sterile. More alive. People talk faster, laugh louder, stay later, because they're excited, not because they're afraid. Mom called last month. Voice small. We were wrong, Eli. I was wrong. I didn't say it's okay. I said, I know. Nathan's wife had their baby. I sent flowers. No card. Just flowers. I still have ADHD. I still lose my keys. I still talk too fast when I'm excited. I still get overwhelmed in loud rooms. I still need timers, checklists, movement breaks. But now I lead with the brain they called broken, and people listen. The company is shifting back toward Grandma's original spirit, more moonshots, more risks on founders who don't fit the mold. Last quarter we funded 3 neurodiverse-led startups, one building AI for focus management, one creating adaptive workspaces, one revolutionizing mental health tracking through wearables. They're already showing traction. Investors are noticing. The press is starting to write about the quiet leadership change at Pacific Cascade, the one where the overlooked son stepped forward, not with vengeance, but with vision. I walk past Dad's old office now. It's being turned into a collaboration space, no nameplate yet, just glass walls and white boards. I don't feel triumph exactly. I feel relief. Like I finally exhaled after holding my breath since childhood. Grandma didn't give me revenge. She gave me permission to stop apologizing for existing, to stop shrinking to fit their idea of normal, to stop believing I was the glitch when really I was the signal cutting through noise. Looking back, I see how deliberate it all was, Dad's toasts that erased me, Mom's silence that enabled it, Nathan's smirks that signaled it was okay to dismiss me. They built a story where I didn't belong, so they never had to question their own choices. Grandma saw through it. She watched the dinners, the graduations, the promotions. She saw me fade into the background year after year. She didn't confront them. She planned. She waited. She trusted that one day the truth would speak louder than their version of it. And when that day came, I was ready. Not because I became someone else, but because I finally stopped trying to be someone I wasn't. I still talk to Mom every couple weeks, short calls, careful topics, weather, my new apartment, the baby. She asks questions now. Real ones. How's work? Are you sleeping enough? Do you need anything? I answer honestly. Most days it feels strange, like learning a new language. But it's honest. Nathan and I don't speak much. He sent a text after the baby, congratulations I guess. I replied, thanks. Sent a photo of the flowers I sent. No emoji. No warmth. Just acknowledgement. The family group chat is quiet now. No more holiday planning. No more photos of Nathan's perfect life. I don't miss it. I miss what I wished it could have been, but not what it was. I moved last month to a 1-bedroom in Fremont, closer to the water, bigger windows, more light. I hung Grandma's old photo on the wall, the one from 1985, her standing outside that first fish market office, smiling like she knew something the world didn't. When the afternoon sun hits it, I swear she looks prouder than ever. I talk to her sometimes. Out loud. When the apartment is quiet. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for believing I could do this. Thank you for giving me the chance to prove I wasn't broken. I still have bad days, days when the ADHD wins, when tasks pile up, when my brain feels like a browser with 30 tabs open and no RAM left. But I don't beat myself up anymore. I take a walk. I sketch. I breathe. I remember Grandma's voice, "Keep going, Eli. The world needs people who see sideways." And I keep going. If you've ever been the one they overlooked, the one they laughed at, the one they wrote off, hear me. Your worth was never theirs to assign. You don't need a secret codicil or a boardroom coup to claim it. You just need to stop waiting for their approval to start living as yourself. Sometimes justice isn't a knockout punch. It's quietly standing up, showing the receipts, and letting the truth do the rest. It's choosing clarity over cruelty, vision over vengeance. It's realizing the people who couldn't see you don't get to define you anymore. I'm Elias Kane. I'm still messy. Still fast. Still scattered. But I'm no longer invisible. And that changes everything. If this hit home, drop scene in the comments. Subscribe if you want more real stories of people taking back their power. Turn on notifications so you never miss one. And remember, the people who couldn't see you don't get to write your ending. You do. Thanks for listening. Talk soon.